Hi. Gary asked me to do the voice-over this time because he was so annoyed with the cause of the video we are about to make. He has just watched the latest 2 videos from a YouTuber that claims to be knowledgeable about analog sound and likes to have a dialogue about it. That is not the case, it would appear, on these 2 videos. The first one is all about current reel-to-reel. The costs are enormous. £12,000 seems to be the asking figure, and the specs are okay. Not, I would say, worth that much. Because the figures he was showing were SN ratio around 68 dB. The max frequency response was around 20-30 kHz at max speeds, but at low speeds, about 20 kHz. This was all paired over as being good. £12,000 is a lot, but they did look nice. Then he had a pop at the modern cassette decks. He did say that the Teac W-1200 was better than the others on the market at the moment. But he poured scorn on the mech, the frequency range and the signal-to-noise ratio.
Then he made unsubstantiated comparisons with the Marantz deck. This looks substantially like the Ion, taped to PC. It is known that the WoW and Flutter spec is not like the premium decks of the past. So this prompted Gary to look, and see what the truth was. The bit that really annoyed him was the signal-to-noise ratio. The Teac spec is 59 decibels. That is without Dolby. It has not got Dolby, so it cannot have it. Dolby is no longer made. This deck, the Teac deck, is producing a signal-to-noise ratio of only 8 decibels less than the £12,000 reel-to-reel. The frequency response is 30 Hz to 15 kHz for CR02. That is only 5 kHz less than the lowest reel-to-reel. And in tests, the Teac W-1200 performed better than spec. Tested and proved by more than one YouTuber. The Marantz is not the same deck. The spec is not the same. The frequency response at -20 decibels looks similar to the Teac, but at the 0 decibels level the range is only 40 Hz to 8 kHz. The build quality, if it is the same as the Ion, is not what you would call quality. Well, unlike analog, Gary has both, the Ion taped to PC, and the Teac W-1200. He can actually tell you what is what on these 2 decks. What follows is a look at the spec on the cassette from Sony over the years. Not picking on Sony, using them because the specs are not hidden, and they are a respected company. There is also the Ion and a couple of Teac spec sheets to look at. Let's get started. Over to Gary.
To me, Chrome tape 40 to 15K, normal tape 40 to 14K, plus or minus 3 dB at minus 20 dB recordings. That's the specification for the Ion. But at 0 dB recordings it says 40 to 8K, and on the normal tape it says 40 to 8K. WoW and Flutter 0.2%, less than 0.2%. Crosstalk 40 dB. Harmonic distortion less than 1%. Those numbers are quite important, so let's just remember them. But yeah, I'm not very happy about the recording specs there. 8K is pretty low. 15K, that's pretty reasonable. But there's a big difference in the recording signals. Okay, so now looking at the Marantz specification, it's got WoW Flutter less than 0.2%, Crosstalk 40 dB, Chrome tape 40 to 15K, normal tape 40 to 14K, plus minus 3 dB, minus 20 dB recording level. I would say that, judging by that, it's exactly the same machine. The only difference is, if you notice, the front, it's got a digital counter, electronic digital counter, instead of the normal numbers that the other one's got. But then my Ion's a bit older than that one. This is an interesting deck from between 70 to 73. It's the Sony TC127. And when you look at the specifications, which I'm doing now, it says that the frequency response is 30 to 12 kilohertz. It's a better than 48 dB signal to noise ratio, and it's a less than 0.2% WoW Flutter. That's quite good numbers. I've seen them very similarly before somewhere. I found this one particularly interesting. This is the Sony TC186. And when you look at this spec, it's from 1976 to 79. It looks pretty good. It's got type 1, type 2, and type, whatever the ferrichrome numbers are. Type 3, isn't it? Anyway, it's got type 1, type 2, and type 3 tape. and it hasn't got metal because it hadn't been invented yet. But the frequency response it gives is 30 Hz to 16 kHz using ferrichrome tape. And the signal to noise ratio is 59 dB with Dolby B. While flutter is superb at 0.09%. Total harmonic distortion, 1.7%. I'll repeat that, 1.7%. Now, I don't know whether this is correct. This has been taken off the Hi-Fi Engine page, so maybe there's an error there. But 1.7% sounds pretty high. The rest of the specs are pretty damn good. But yeah, 30 to 16 kHz, 59 dB, including Dolby. What I'm going to do now is just bring up some pictures of some of the other manuals and things that I've got the information from. If you want to have a look at them, you can always freeze frame going back and look. But you know, they're all around about the same sort of thing, but they cover the wide range of years from the beginning of cassette until now. And then we'll talk about, at the end, the comparison with the reel-to-reels. Now, okay, what we've got to look at now is some other specs that make things go into perspective. I've got here some Autophon cartridge pickup type specifications. I've got the W-1200 to look at, and I've got a couple of reel-to-reel ones to look at. Now those were both, the reel-to-reels were featured in a video which prompted me to make this one, and I think you'll find the numbers are interesting. I want to have a quick look at the Torrens. It's £10,999. This is discounted, it's 12,000 euros. And as you can see, it's a very nice looking piece of kit. But there's no real technical specs on it. It just says it's a 2-track playback and it's got 3 motors and that it plays tapes, and it's very nice. That's basically what it says. You can always go and find it on the websites, or you can zoom in on this. Now let's have a look at the METAXAS. Now the METAXAS is 75,000 euros apparently, and it is a gorgeous piece of thing to look at. The engineering, the metal, the photographs on the brochures and everything is wonderful. Let's have a look at the specs. The specs here, I'm looking down here, I can see 30 to 15, hang on, 59 dB, oh, some of the numbers are right. I think we've got the wrong one. Right, okay, we've got the right one here now, and looking at that and thinking, what? What? No, that makes no sense at all. Let's look at them together. Okie dokie, now you can see my confusion. Wound flutter 0.25%, wound flutter 0.25%, frequency response 30 to 20, signal noise ratio -67. They're so close. Just to remind you what we're looking at here, this is a deck from 2021 which cost about just under £400 compared to a deck from 2021 which cost £75,000 or thereabouts, 75,000 euros, and the differences between the two are almost nothing. In fact, a couple of the numbers are worse on the expensive reel-to-reel. This does not make sense. This is mind-boggling. Just for completeness, just thought I'd put this up on for you. This is the Type 2 audio burst, the frequency response from the W-1200, which you can see is self-explanatory. And here we have a similar chart for Type 1 playback with a noise reduction and a Type 2 playback, and you can see the two differences. Again, they're self-explanatory. I assure you I wasn't expecting that when I started this. The research made my eyes pop, and then I thought, well, better put it onto a video so that everybody else could see. These things are not always what they seem, and I think sometimes money doesn't buy you what you think it does. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, hit the notice. See you later. Bye.